Hey everybody, Tony D and Little Joan here. We're going to take a look at this new movie called Vanguard. It's a screenwriter's rant. I like to end on a screenwriter's rant today. It's just so tiring talking about the Hunter Biden scandal and all the politics. Need a break. Need a break. I know it's so close to the election. But this is from Gravitas Ventures, and these guys are cranking out movies. It's called Vanguard, and it's about some kind of I'm not sure. I guess they're kind of like a mercenary group or some sort of secret organization that handles stuff, handles bad guys, I guess drug guys and terrorists. So you can see there's Jackie. I think he's the leader. And then this is the guy on his right or his left is his protege. So, he's probably the guy who's going to do all the stunts that Jackie's, he's getting long in the tooth to do a lot of them. But see, Jackie still can pull it off. And this is his kind of movie. It's gonna be excuse for a lot of action. I'm not sure who this guy is. So they go into this situation. There's a bunch of terrorists, and then at some point, all hell breaks loose, and they end up shooting everybody. I guess they were going to pretend to negotiate, and then they shoot this guy, and then it's like boom, everybody shoots everybody, and then they're in, and then they have this chase with golden cars, which is kind of cool. I mean, it's more of a spectacle. This movie. There's Jackie. This part takes place in Africa, I think, because there's this giant waterfall, and it mentions Africa in the trailer, and then they go over. Was not really that. So this is the guys fighting on like jet skis or something, doing martial arts. This is the younger guy in the kitchen fighting, and then this woman, I don't know who she is. She does some fighting with like a cape, and then there's car chases, and they go to London and the Middle East and Dubai and all these different places. The world needs the Vanguard, a dangerous new team who runs from lions. They actually run from CGI lions, and this is Jackie and the younger guy there. And then there's a car stunt here, and you can see that's cool. And then there's like this kind of stuff. There's like a drone and a battleship and stuff like this, and gadgets, and I mean it's crazy. People shooting at each other. They're fighting, and Jackie shoots this guy with his own gun and says, why are you shooting yourself? Like kind of messing with him. And then, this guy, he's doing martial arts, and then Jackie does his shtick where he does something funny. So in this, he grabs the gun, and the gun goes off a bunch of times, and, the barrel's going to get hot. And Jackie's like, ow, 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 ow. And there's big guns and explosions and more explosions. Vanguard. So I would totally see this movie. I mean, this is totally up my alley. I like Jackie Chan. He always plays like a fun, happy guy. 9 times out of 10. Like one movie where he tried to serious it up, he was kind of a downer. Didn't want to see that. But in this, he plays. Jackie has to sort of stay in a range that he can play. Like he's an okay actor. He's like Arnold Schwarzenegger. Like, you can't give him like a script that's going to be mostly acting. That's not what he does. He entertains not just by acting. He's got a limited range. I mean, let's be real. But he is like the world's greatest stuntman. I mean, he's amazing in his martial arts and his moves. I mean, that's what you want to see. You want to see Jackie kicking everybody's butt. So this is totally up my alley. Now the plot, I mean, look, I can tell you the plot already, right? There's some bad guys. The Vanguard has to get them. They go in and they beat a bunch of terrorists, only to find out that they missed one, and that there's an even bigger terrorist, and he's the main bad guy of the movie. And then they hunt him down, but then they're betrayed by one of the members of their own team, probably, or they get tricked, and then they're ambushed and nearly killed, or perhaps they are branded outlaws by the government, which always happens in these movies too, or all three. And then finally at the end, against impossible odds, the team pulls together and defeats the main terrorist, whoever he is. Maybe they kill him, maybe they blow him up at the end, or maybe he's just captured at the end. Who knows? But so it's not it's not going to be Shakespeare. You're not you can't give a script like this to guys. I mean, it's the important part of the scripting is the cool fight scenes. You got to come up with cool fight scenes. That's why people like me see these movies. I'm not going to hear your take on world politics, and you're not going to be able to pull that off in a movie like this. I'm not there for the world politics. That's a different movie. This movie is a spectacle of stunts, and that's what I want to see. And I want to see them strung together reasonably well, but I also don't want to be bogged down in world politics that you got to explain. And you'd have a lot to explain. I mean, Jackie's Chinese, so you'd have to probably make him work for the Chinese government, which is kind of a problem. If you're making them the good guys and considering the international, I mean, once you start opening that can of worms, it's not going to end well. But if it's like a private mercenary organization, it doesn't matter where Jackie's from, and it could just be this fictional group that is hired to stop terrorism, and because they're the best at what they do. So, I'm all down to see this. I mean, look, I'm sure Jackie has a huge fan base in China. I mean, obviously, he's a superstar over there too, and so I don't think this is really supporting the Chinese government really in any way. I mean, obviously, Jackie's movies are not, they're not negative towards the Chinese government. I mean, he's not a political guy. He most of this is when the Chinese government is involved in one of his movies. It's a very neutral. It's about as neutral as you can get. So I'm not making excuses for him. I mean, he's from China. I mean, he's got to deal with that. He obviously doesn't want to go to prison. I mean, he's not going to come here and make a movie saying that communism, go F yourself. But at the same time, it's not like he's pushing communism on anybody either. He's making a fun action movie that, if you like action movies, if you like some martial arts and car chases, you're going to love this movie. I'm sure it'll be fun. Jackie's funny. I'm sure there's going to be a bunch of crazy stunts. But if you don't like this stuff, it's not your kind of movie. It's not going to be plot driven. It's going to be stunt driven. It's literally, the plot is an excuse to string a bunch of cool stunts. It's almost like a James Bond movie, really, minus the James Bond hooking up. Back in the era when he was allowed to hook up. Now he's like totally neutered, but that's another story. So Vanguard, I would totally see this movie. I don't know if it's one of Jackie's old movies that's just making it to the States. He doesn't look super young in it, so I think he is. I think this is a new movie, but if you know differently, I have done no research. I'm just analyzing the trailer. Let me know in the comments. Vanguard, I'm going to give it an upvote because the trailer looks cool. And we will see you tomorrow.